Art. What is it? Does it have a definition? Art can be interpreted in so many different ways. From street art to performance poetry, there are countless forms of expression that deserve recognition and admiration. In this video, we'll take a closer look at one of the lesser known, or rather forgotten, art forms and explore a modern method for rebirthing a unique technique passed on to me as a child. A style of art that endured undue criticism for its uniqueness at the time by being starkly different from most art forms. The art style that we're talking about today is Pointillism. Pointillism is a style of painting that was popularized in the late 19th century by artists such as Georges Seurat, Paul Signac, and Camille Pissarro. Instead of using brushstrokes to create the image, Pointillism is created by applying small individual dots of paint onto the canvas. The technique was mocked and ridiculed at the time of its inception, and the name Pointillism was actually considered a derogatory term to lessen the prestige of the art form at the time. Over the years, it became considered a revolutionary art form for its ability to create a sense of depth and movement in the painting. Pointillism was so unique that it took the attention of even more notable artists such as Vincent van Gogh. Over time, there have been many variants of Pointillism that have emerged. And one such variant of Pointillism that is rarely mentioned is the art of Pointillism with a needle. In fact, there are several applications in which a needle can be used to create this technique. One of the more notable needle techniques involves a needle and thread to create small individual stitches of fabric or other materials. The result is a work of art that is created using the same principles as Pointillism in painting, but with a unique texture and dimension. The art of Pointillism with the needle was not widely accepted by the art world at the time, and it remained a niche technique for many years. However, in the early 20th century, a group of artists began to revive the technique, and it began to gain popularity once again. One of the most notable of these artists was the French artist Sonia Delaunay, who was known for her use of vibrant colors and geometric shapes. She created a number of works using Pointillism with a needle technique, and her work was exhibited in galleries and museums around the world. Another type of needle Pointillism was to dip the needle in paint and then apply dots of color, creating a unique and intricate style of Pointillism. The process of creating this type of Pointillism art with a needle is a time-consuming and labor-intensive one. The artist must carefully select and mix the colors, and then use a needle to apply the dots of color to the canvas. Despite the advantages of using a needle to create Pointillism art, this technique has largely fallen out of use in recent years. Today, many artists prefer to use paintbrushes or digital tools to create Pointillism art, as these methods are faster and easier. However, there are still few artists who continue to use needle to create Pointillism art, and their work is a testament to the beauty and complexity that can be achieved through this technique. The application of Pointillism that we're talking about today is, for some reason, not widely acknowledged. It is a form of needle Pointillism, but it's different in the canvas and application of the needle. In my research for this video, I couldn't find any evidence of anyone doing Pointillism this way, and I also couldn't find the name of my art teacher from back in the day to give them at least half credit for me coming up with this style today. That being said, my fondest memories of art class growing up came from the uniqueness of this particular application of the art form, and I decided to bring that back today with this video. We're doing Pointillism with a needle, but we're not dipping the needle in paint. We're simply using a needle straight to canvas that already has paint on it. So let's see what we can do. So to begin, first you will need what is called gesso, Gesso. That's this container here, and I purchased it from Walmart, but you can get it from pretty much any art store, from Michael's or anything like that. And basically, you use it in both directions. You do one coat up and down, and another coat left to right, and sand in between coats. And basically, this will allow your paint to absorb more easily into the canvas. And it's also going to be used in between the coats of actual paint that I'm going to use to create the effect for the underlayment for the pointillism that we're going to do with the needle a little bit later. So after the first layer of gesso, you want to allow it to dry for 1 hour and then sand. And then do another layer of gesso and then sand again. And then we're going to start our actual painting. So when you start your actual painting, you just go in with the acrylic paint of your choice, but please use darker colors because it just works best for this type of pointillism. And so here I just went in with the black acrylic paint. After this first layer of black paint, I did go in and get those edges for those of y'all that have OCD like me, going the other direction, left to right, just like I did with the gesso, but not with sanding. And ultimately what you're doing here is creating a bunch of layers for your needle to have something thick to press into and ultimately get to that underlayment of the white of the original layer of gesso, and the canvas itself is what you want to have in the end result. So once you have 2 layers of the paint, you go back in and you repeat the layers again, 2 more layers with gesso, or you can use flat white paint. But once you do that, then we're going to go in again with the acrylic paint. And this time, this is the final layer, so you can mix in some other colors with the black to get whatever type of effect that you want to have, or type of colors you want to have for your final canvas. The reason I did my painting this way with so many layers is because I don't have the exact paper that I was taught to use in my art class when I was in intermediate school. So I'm trying to create the paper myself through what I remember it being just like a thick layer, almost like what you would scratch off of a lottery ticket is basically the feel that you'll get. When you're doing the needlework, it's going to feel like you're scratching off a lottery ticket and revealing underneath just the white layer. But it creates a very cool effect and a unique one that we're going to see a little bit later on in this video. So my goal here with these colors was to create a woodsy effect. Because I'm going to be doing pointillism of an owl, as you'll see, or I'm going to attempt to. I'm not the best artist, but I do like to explore creative avenues when it comes to art. So that's the goal here, is not to be up to anyone's standards. It's to explore my creativity and bring back some good memories of art class when I was a kid. Here I'm touching up those edges, and that's the one thing I used to forget always when I started painting, was to get the edges and sides of the canvas, especially on stretch canvases. Get those edges. So now we're ready to start the actual pointillism. We did all this prep work and we just go straight into it with the craft needle and just start poking holes and scratching. That's all you're doing to create whatever type of piece that you want to create. And again, here I'm creating an owl just through a series of dots and lines. Traditional pointillism does not include you doing these scratches that I'm doing, as you see here. But this is where my creativity comes in, and my own interpretation of pointillism. And when I was in class at the time in intermediate school, they did teach us just to use dots, but my art teacher allowed me to do this scratching technique, and I created a bird when I was in intermediate school too, and that's the inspiration for me doing the owl today. Okay, so here's where the cool effect comes in. You see up close, you can see what the work that I've done already, and then from afar, it's practically gone. And that's the cool effect that I came up with by just experimenting and trying this unique take on pointillism. So just through experimenting and playing around with different ideas and things you've been taught, that's where art comes in. That's where your take on it comes in. That's where you find your niche. And so I'm glad that you all are joining me on this journey and discovering this technique with me. And hopefully you all feel inspired to do this yourself. And if you do, please like and subscribe and just give your girl a shout out. That's all I ask for. And I want to share this and have it be spread across the world. And hopefully you all can make it even more creative than I have and come up with even more developments and ideas to add on to this type of new modern pointillism. Even while I was filming, I had to hold the canvas in certain angles just for you to be able to see it, and I love that effect. I want to call it hidden pointillism, and ultimately I feel like you can make it even more dynamic by having the canvas itself be a painting, and then you do the pointillism on top of that, so you get up close and you see a different image. And I just hope that you all feel inspired by this and want to explore what you can do with this yourself. So here we have the final result for what I'm going to be doing for this video. I am going to finish this later, but I just wanted to stop here because, you know, I take my time when I do my pieces, so I haven't even thought about doing the rest of this yet, because you just have to be in the mood, you have to feel inspired in order to, you know, finish certain pieces. And I just wanted to show you all and bring back what I learned when I was a kid, you know, this new type of pointillism. I didn't know it was so unique at the time when my teacher taught it to me, but it is not traditional pointillism. It involves scratches and you know, poking holes into your canvas essentially, and it's very different than the pointillism of those, you know, famous artists that we covered earlier. But I wanted to give them credit for creating this and inspiring my teacher to pass this on to me. And, you know, I came up with my own little, you know, take on it, you know, doing it this way. And I hope you all loved it. Please like and subscribe and support your girl, and more creative takes on art are coming. So thank you, and I hope you all enjoy the video, share it, and thank you. Have a great day. Bye bye.